Hey gang, I haven't done a video in ages, mainly because I've just been working on lots of sort of small projects rather than one big one, and when I'm doing videos I kind of like doing a big project and taking it from the start to the finish, but I haven't really got any big projects that I can share with you because, well, really the only big one that I've got going on at the moment is Robocop suit, but it's really slow going, and doing videos for that you'd probably be getting one video every sort of 2 months or something with not a lot of progress in it. So what I thought I'd do is make a video which is kind of like an interim video to show you what I'm doing with all of my previously completed projects like upgrades and repairs, etc. And also I'll give you an update on the Robocop suit as well. So firstly, just because it happens to be strewn across the bench in front of me, I'm making some changes to my Space Marine suit. So I wore this to Wellington Armageddon earlier this year, and it was awesome. It was a great time. I had a lot of fun, but it did reveal a few problems with the suit which I hadn't really worn for any length of time prior to that. A lot of them were related to comfort and movement, and a couple of them related to actually putting the suit on and taking it off again, especially because at Armageddon I did all of that on my own. Most Space Marine suits need somebody to help the wearer put it on. Mine just about doesn't, but only just. So firstly, what I'm doing is building a whole new harness system for it, and I'm basing it on a baby carrier backpack that I got. The reason I got that is because it comes with a rigid aluminium frame inside it, and it also comes with all the kind of ergonomic padding and the kidney padding as well. There's a good reason that backpacks, particularly good quality heavy duty backpacks, have got this nice big waist strap with all the padding on, and that's because what you want to do is distribute the weight across your shoulders, down your back and across your hips if you're carrying heavy loads. So my Space Marine weighs about sort of 20-30 kilos maybe, all up, maybe even a little bit more than that, I'm not entirely sure. It's certainly very heavy, and a lot of that just sits on my shoulders, and particularly because the top of it's so wide, because the chest of it's so wide, a lot of it sort of sits a little bit further out than ideally what you'd want. So my idea is that I have this that I put on right at the beginning before I put any of the armour on, and I have the waist and the legs hanging off this belt area here with webbing and clips. So I sort of step into the legs and the belt, and I get those hitched up and clipped together, and then I clip them into this so that that's what they're hanging off. And then what I'll do is I'll put the chest with the shoulders and the arms already attached on in one go, and that should rest on this metal bar here in the back. That is at least the idea. So I've actually extended the metal frame. There was a piece at the bottom here that stuck out backwards in a sort of loop, which was where the actual baby carrier part of this attached to. And what I did is I just cut that off here. It used to extend up and out like that in a sort of a loop. I cut that bit off, and I've bolted it into the top here so that it extends the top of it up. And the idea is that the chest section will rest on top of this bar, and that will be where all the weight goes. So that's one of the changes that I'm making. Another one is put some elastic at the top of the arms here, just to provide a bit more freedom of movement. I found that when one of these accidentally became unclipped, it was actually easier to lift my arm up to the horizontal, just because it afforded a greater range of movement. So this has now got elastic on it, which should kind of do that with a bit more precision. I've also reattached the grenades to the belt. I had to make a new grenade because I lost one, or rather somebody stole one because it fell off, and I kicked it under my car so that I could pick it up later. And when I got back to my car, it was not there anymore. So I think somebody helped themselves to it. Fair enough really, because it was under my car and it probably looked like rubbish. Or a grenade. I hope I didn't get a bomb squad call out. I've made the front ab panel velcroed. A velcro piece so that you can just take that out. The reason is that allows me to bend forwards through the gap to do things like tie up the shoelaces and get the lower part of the armour sorted while I'm wearing this. What else am I doing to him? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I had a few other cosmetic upgrades for it, but nothing major, and as I'm sure a lot of you who make costumes can attest to, a costume's never really finished. You're continually adding to it, repairing it, changing it, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So there's no biggie, but just I'm trying to make it better. Now with Robocop, what I've done so far is I have finished the lower legs. So here are the finished lower legs. There was a lot of work in these. To see just how much work I put into them, go and have a look at my special Robocop Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/Wellington Robocop, all one word, Wellington Robocop. That's where I'm recording all of the work that I'm doing on this. These looked like complete crap when I first got them. They were bashed, pieces missing, didn't fit together. You wouldn't believe it to see them now. I mean, some of the detail that I've managed to get back in there, I'm really pleased with. A lot of it was scratch built. These are one of the knee pieces that I've made for it out of urethane plastic. It sort of fits on there like that. I made a wooden master and then cast it in silicone, and then got it in urethane. It's the same with these knee joints as well. These were made them out of wood and plastic and various other bits and pieces, and then cast a few copies of them in fiberglass resin. This little dome here was a bingo ball that I have sunk into the leg and then resined it in. Now, there's lots of stuff going on here. It was a real effort, but they look great now, and I hope it's representative of what the rest of the suit's going to come out like. I've got the back done so far, I've got these done so far. All the other pieces are being worked on currently. They've all had some progress, but it's a long road. Because the idea is that we finish the suit. It's a collaborative project between myself and another chap. The idea is that we finish the suit, this fiberglass one. We then make some molds, which will take a while because they're going to be pretty big molds. And then once we've got those molds, we can then cast some replicas of the suit that we're making into urethane plastic, which is a lot more durable and a lot lighter than fiberglass, and also means that we can make 2 copies, one for him and one for me. We may be offering some for sale, but it really depends on whether or not the molds are durable enough to do that. Sometimes silicone molds tend not to be very durable, so we'll see. The last thing that I'm doing at the moment is I'm actually rebuilding Iron Man. So he's been around for about 3 years now. I finished him in late 2012 actually. So pretty much 3 years, almost to the month, when he was completed. He was only designed to last for 2 days of a dress-up competition, and I didn't even know if it would last that. So the fact that it's still in one piece and still being worn 3 years later is quite incredible, really. It's also not like it's only been worn a couple of times a year. There have been months where every weekend, on the Saturday and the Sunday, I've had an event where I've been wearing the Iron Man suit. All of it's been for charity. I've raised funds for the Wellington Children's Hospital, which is a local children's hospital here. And everything that I do is linked to them in some way. So if I do a private event and people give me money to show up at their birthday party or whatever, then the proceeds go to the children's hospital. So I very rarely turn things down, but what I've been finding is that I've been having to turn things down just because I've been so busy doing it, and I've got a life, I've got a young toddler, I've got a wife, I've got a full-time job, and I've got other hobbies as well which get in the way, which is really annoying. So the reason that I've been turning them down is because I've been busy, and also because the suit is just getting a pounding. It's taken a lot of abuse, especially at the kids' birthday parties. They tend to like seeing how hard they can kick and punch Iron Man. until they get told to stop. So there's a lot of damage to it. It's creased, the paintwork's cracked, the foam has been rubbed away in places. It's almost like it's more hot glue than it is foam in places, just being held together. So what I want to do is re-coat it. So a chap called James Brunton, who's got a channel, xrobots.co.uk, although it's now under his real name, James Brunton, because Google+. So look up the guy, he's great. He pioneered a technique around 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was, where you coated foam in a urethane plastic, a 2-part urethane plastic that you mix up, and it's a liquid, and then when it sets it goes hard. And I thought it looked like it was worth a go, so I got some. And this is what it looks like. It's 2 bottles of stuff with, you mix them together 50-50 and you get a hard plastic out of the end, and that's what this is made from. It's what this Robocop knee joint's made from. It's kind of well, it is a plastic. Now when it's thick like this, it's completely rigid, but it's also very strong. When it's thinner, you know, like maybe 1 millimeter thick, something like that, it's actually flexible, and it is very flexible. If it's the thinner it is, the more flexible it is. So it kind of lends itself ideally to the application that I'm using here, where I do want to retain a little bit of flexibility in case I kind of bend over in the suit and things flex and bend. You don't want to be completely restricted so that you've only got very little movement, and you don't want to be at the point where it's so flexible that it bends and it deforms and it cracks the paint. So this urethane plastic is a good compromise. So I've done some tests with it, and it turned out pretty well. The paint that I put over the top of the plastic, when I bent the plastic to test its flexibility, the paint didn't crack, it didn't crease, and it held together quite well. I've since revisited one of the parts of the suit, which is the boots. And again, if you go to my other Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/Wellington Ironman, then you'll see the results of the boot tests. The boots are now finished, they're coated in urethane, they're repainted, re-weathered, and I'm going to wear them to sort of 3 or 4 events that I've got coming up in December, a couple of parades, and see what sort of damage that they that gets done to them, just to see how durable that finish really is. If it works, they don't get damaged too badly, then I'll press ahead and do it with the rest of the suit. If they do get damaged and it doesn't work so well, then that'll be the end of that idea, and I'll have to try and think about something else. But let's see how it goes. The reason I chose the boots is because they tend to be one of the most heavily punished areas of a costume. So that's a note for you guys building costumes out there. If you're gonna over-engineer anything, it's the boots and the feet and the legs, because they're the bits that are always moving, and they're the bits that tend to get stressed when you pose. So yeah, reinforce your knee joints and make sure everything in that area is particularly well built. And that's it really. I've also been working on a couple of side projects, but I'm going to do a separate video for that, because I want to show you the finished products there. Because yeah, they're fun and they're cool, and they're not costumes, they're just props, so it's something a bit different. I've never made props before I did these 2 things. I've only made costumes, so I'll show you those in another video. But I'm guessing that my next video will probably be something around either the Robocop, or it'll be around the rebuild of Iron Man. But I'm not going to do a series of videos now about a particular project. I'm just going to tell you what's going on and give you little updates as to what I'm getting up to. So with that in mind, I'll see you next time. Look, if you guys got any questions or comments, then either stick them below, or fly over to my Facebook pages, which the links will be in the comments below. More than happy to help you guys out. I've also got my instructional series on how I made this Space Marine suit in one of my in my other videos, which are on this page. And maybe if you guys like what I do, you can request a video. I'm quite happy to try and share as much knowledge as I can. Sometimes it can look a bit imposing to people trying to get into costume building, particularly when you've got people that are going, la-da-da, look what I did, I've got this incredible finished project and da-da. And you're like, well, you know, where'd you even start? So hopefully my video series on the Space Marine addressed that particular point, but just fire questions, happy to help. Otherwise, see you next time.